The budget cap concept was introduced in 2021 with the aim of leveling out the race field, opening a wide window for smaller teams in the current championship to fight more competitively with economically stable teams like Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari. But top teams are not in favor of this budget cap from the start, as they have enough money to pump into the development budget of their cars. They spent the last season under the budget cap without any issue, but due to closer battles among teams under the new regulation changes, top teams are introducing many upgrades within a short time gap to remain more competitive in the sport compared to their rival teams. This result to push them to the margin of their development budgets just after 7 races, making it possible to lose their development opportunities at the later stage of the ongoing season. Hey guys, welcome back to F1 Leaked, the best place for your daily dose of trending news and gossip regarding Formula 1. Before we proceed, hit the subscribe button and smash the notification bell for more exciting updates. Red Bull is appearing as the first team who is going to face many hardships due to the cost cap with the unavailability of sufficient funds for the necessary development in the latter part of their 2022 championship campaign. With the excessive development cost at the beginning, they were powerful, but they lacked enough reliability at the first few races of the 2022 season, causing several retirements for both Verstappen and Perez. They need to remain more competitive ahead of Ferrari, which appears as the most dominant force at the beginning of the season, opting to go for back-to-back upgrades in every race weekend, which costs millions of dollars in their development budget. On the other hand, Ferrari looks to be dominant with the F175, which can be considered as an engineering masterpiece from the Maranello-based factory of prancing horses after several bad seasons. Mattia Binotto and his team remain cool and calm with Red Bull upgrades, showing not any hurry to go for bigger upgrades in response to their rivals. That means Ferrari are waiting to release some big guns into the battlefield in the near future, which will be a surprise to their rivals. They have enough budget to do that, but Red Bull will be out of sufficient funds to act in response to these future upgrades. That's why Red Bull team principal Christian Horner is demanding a raise in the cost cap with a warning of missing races this season if FIA doesn't take any action to increase its budget cap. Horner's doomsday predictions come in a condition where all the costs are escalating in response to the inflation rates, and he requested the governing body, FIA, to show some duty of care by showing flexibility with a cost cap increase. 7 of the teams would probably need to miss the last 4 races to come within the cap this year, he said. It's not just about big teams, it's teams in the middle of the field who are really struggling with inflationary issues. The FIA has a duty of care. I know they are taking it seriously. Energy bills, cost of living, costs are going up exponentially. And F1 is not exempt. Freight has quadrupled, and that's not something we can control. Horner also stated, Red Bull, we're going to end up with more people in our financial department than we have in the drawing office, and added, what we don't want to see is that Formula 1 becomes an accounting world championship rather than a technical or sporting one. Normally, top teams are always making statements against each other, but surprisingly this time, all the teams like Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren have agreed with the Red Bull team principal to make adjustments to the cost cap. Agreeing with the rival team boss, Ferrari's Mattia Binotto added, I think that there will be no way for us to stay below, so I'm pretty sure that at some stage, we will go over. In the regulations, there is a threshold, which is 5%. If you do not exceed the 5% on the top of what's the budget cap threshold, it will be considered a minor breach. And what's a minor breach in case of force majeure? What will the stewards and the FIA decide on that in terms of penalties? No idea, but I don't think there is any way for us, and for many teams, simply to stay within, and even laying off people. I don't think that's a good and right choice. But smaller teams like Alfa Romeo, Williams and Haas are still in a position against any inflation-based adjustment to the cost cap, which can affect negatively on the performance level of these teams. Alfa Romeo team principal Fred Vasseur also expressed his displeasure on the adjustments to the cost cap, which was set at the beginning of the season. "We are in this situation, and sooner or later we will have to stop the development of the car because we will be at the limit of our budget, and I think everybody can do the same. It's absolutely not a case of force majeure, because inflation is not a case of force majeure." When it came to the 2022 season, Ferrari-powered Haas and Alfa Romeo showed a greater improvement compared to the previous season, making the grid more competitive compared to the previous seasons. Haas driver Kevin Magnussen was very dominant in the first two races, but he slowly disappears from the top 10 finish in parallel to the upgrades of his rival teams. That's where smaller teams like Haas lost the battle against the larger teams, as they are unable to introduce sufficient upgrades compared to their rivals due to the lack of strong financial background within the teams. Haas, Williams, and Alfa Romeo voted against the proposal that was forwarded in the last month to make an inflationary adjustment based on International Monetary Fund inflation figures during the F1 Commission meeting of the teams, the FIA and commercial rights holder of F1. Alpine is the rebranded factory team of Renault with good financial backing and also not in favor of the raise of the cost cap like other top teams. Their team principal, Otmar Safnauer, also commented on the issue. "We've set our budgets early. We kind of anticipated a little bit of inflation. Inflation didn't just creep up on us. If we can do it, for sure others can do it too. I'm not for just increasing the cap. When freight costs go up by 2.5 million or 3.5 million, but your development budget is 20 million, can you not make your development budget 17 million and still be under the cap? You can. What that then does is limits your development. So it's a lot easier if you have the money to go to the FIA and lobby to raise the cap and keep your development budget the same." Alpine principal added further. Aston Martin is also in support of the adjustment to the cost cap, but they agree only if it is only based on inflation rates. An Aston Martin spokesperson said, "We support a budget cap increase in line with inflation, but do not see the need for an increase greater than that." F1's managing director, Ross Brawn, revealed that they are trying for a solution related to the cost cap last month. They are trying to be flexible with the problem. Anyhow, the last attempt was failed due to disagreements between teams. "I think the inflationary increase needs to be reviewed," Brawn said, "because when these rules were developed, inflation was relatively low and predictable, and now it's high and unpredictable. If you look at the inflation rates that apply to industrial enterprises like an F1 team, you've got power, you've got raw materials, you've got all the things which are proving to be quite expensive at the moment. So I think there's a solution coming on that." He added further, "The current cost cap is $140 million for each team. So the request is now to adjust it with the current inflation rates, but it is a complex procedure as teams are based in different countries. As an example, Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren are based in the United Kingdom, while the teams like Ferrari and AlphaTauri are in Italy. Outside of those two countries, Haas and Alfa Romeo are based in the United States and Switzerland respectively. Then, adjusting the cost cap to a common inflation rate is not an easy task, where teams will not surely agree to go into common inflation rate adjustment for all the teams. On the other hand, different rates for different countries will not be a possible solution, as teams will not allow higher cost cap limits for selected teams only. Then, going for either of the solutions is problematic, and it will be a difficult task for FIA to find a solution agreeable for all. Let's assume that the current inflation rate of the United Kingdom is applied to the Red Bull. It is 9%, which results to adjust the cost cap to a value of $153.908 million, causing a rise of $13 million only. Everyone knows this amount is not sufficient enough to make top teams happy. They are expecting more than that. FIA will not be able to find a solution that makes top teams happy, and it will take more time to come to a final solution that is agreeable to all. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel to not miss anything related to Formula One. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye!